Good morning. This morning, our board welcome will be offered virtually. So please look to the screen here.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington. Today is Sunday, September 4th. My name is Ashley Grieve. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees and also a youth group advisor. UUCA is an intentionally welcoming congregation to people of all backgrounds, races, genders, sexual and romantic orientations, and abilities. We are a community that works to build a more just and peaceful world. We find inspiration in music and the arts, and we honor the earth. We're a community that draws from a wide diversity of religious backgrounds and traditions. Our mission is to be a place where anyone and everyone can come for community, find inspiration, and live with purpose. Whether you're a newcomer, a friend, or a member, if this is your first service or your first in a long time, if you're joining virtually like me today or in person, you are welcome. A few announcements for you. Covenant groups signups go live on September 11th, and I strongly recommend them. Covenant groups, if you aren't already familiar, are small groups for exploring our spirituality and our values together. Also on September 11th, which is next Sunday, we have our official in-gathering for the season and our water communion, which means that we will return to 2 services at 9:15 and 11:15. We also have a backpack blessing and a homecoming picnic to follow the second service. In addition, RE classes and youth groups start the following week on September 18th. So please register your kids for RE. You can find more information on religious education classes and on Faith 360 classes for spiritual developments at all ages in the Connections newsletter. Finally, if you were able to join in person today, we invite you to join the coffee hour following the service, which will be outside the doors to the sanctuary and to the left. I hope to see you at coffee hour or at one of the 2 September 11th in-gathering services, or in RE and youth group starting on the 18th. Thank you and welcome.
Welcome to this church service. I'm Reverend Morgan McLean. I'm the guest minister today. It's a pleasure to be with you. I have just moved 3 weeks ago from California, where I was serving the UU Church of Davis, and have relocated here with my family. My husband has started a position at Northern Virginia Community College, Alexandria campus, and my 3-year-old Martile is here running around somewhere. Sorry if she interrupts the service. It's good to be together this morning. Here in our sacred community, we gather to share our lives. Come into this place of peace. Come into this time of sharing. We are here to explore, to listen deeply, and to learn. We are here to acknowledge the joys and sorrows of our being. We are here to worship.
For several months, before we light our chalice together, we first light a candle of compassion, a symbol of our care for and solidarity with all who are suffering, all who are experiencing violence, all who are fearful or lonely. This week, we'll light the candle for all of us and everyone around the world. And we'll also light our regular chalice. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
Good morning. Please rise as in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 391 in your gray hymnal, Voice Still and Small, and we are going to sing it through 2 times.
like to invite any children up to join us. Any young folks or young at heart, you're welcome to come up and sit or stand by Rev Morgan and I. We have a lesson for you. Come on up, or if you'd like to stay seated, whatever you feel comfortable with. You can just come on up. If y'all want to sit down here on the stairs, that'd be great. Welcome. Good to have you here. And I think Rev Morgan has something she brought for us.
I wanted to show you this bowl. I'm going to show it to all of you, okay? I want to pull it out. It's this really special... Uh-oh. I had this really special bowl to show you, but look. It's broken. Allison, it's broken.
I didn't break it.
Oh, I know you didn't break it, but can you help me fix it?
You mean help you fix it even though I didn't break it? I just need you to understand that I'm a good person. I don't go around breaking bowls.
I know, but this bowl is really, really special to me. Do you think we could fix it anyway? Do you want to hold it? It's a little bit sharp, so just be really careful.
Kids, what do you think? Should we help Rev Morgan fix her bowl?
Yeah? How do you think we could? Anyone else want to hold a shard of glass? Sorry, parents. Just be really gentle. Yeah. Oh, you already have Band-Aids on. That's good. Here, do you want to hold that one? Yeah, just be really careful. Can you hold that one?
How do y'all think we could help fix the bowl? What might we do to be able to fix it? Any thoughts?
Do you think we could get it back together? What could we use?
Maybe something sticky? Yeah, maybe
Glue.
glue.
Uh-huh.
Good idea.
What else might work? Does anyone have any gum? No. Duct tape? Duct tape fixes everything, doesn't it? What do you think? Do you think duct tape would hold it together? Yeah? Any other ideas? Band-Aids. Band-Aids seem to fix everything, isn't that right? You know, that reminds me, I heard of this thing called kintsugi. Have you ever heard that word before? Kintsugi?
What's kintsugi?
It is a Japanese art of fixing broken pottery like this with gold. So they use gold powder in the glue, and then they put it together with shiny gold right on the cracks. You think we can get two pieces together? Now, can you imagine what that would look like if there were gold holding that together? It'd be pretty, huh?
So what I'm learning is that the point of kintsugi isn't to hide the broken parts, right?
Right, we can't really hide broken parts like this, but we can put them back together, and sometimes in putting them back together, it becomes even more beautiful.
In a way, that's what happens when other things break too, right?
I think so, yeah. Things like friendships and relationships, and sometimes our feelings are hurt, but how do things like that get fixed? There's nothing like a nice apology, a golden apology, right? If you just say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, that can make it more beautiful, and your friendship becomes even more beautiful and even stronger.
Yeah, as Unitarian Universalists, we don't ignore when things are broken. We try to rebuild relationships so that they're stronger than they were before. We can acknowledge the hurt, ask for forgiveness, correct our mistakes, and make a sacred promise to do better in the future. So when our children go out, we adults will be thinking about how to heal our relationships so that our faith in our congregations will be more beautiful than before. Please help us sing our children out.
I invite you now into a moment of prayer and reflection. You might find your feet solidly on this ground connected to the life-giving earth. You might close your eyes, take a breath, and be present to this time of sharing and caring that we create together. We are surrounded by the spirit of life and love, thankful for a moment of silence, a moment where we might name the joys and sorrows of our being, the fears, the places of hurt, the places needing repair inside of us, the times that we might be the golden glue, repairing something. In this sacred silence, we honor our lives, honor ourselves, our hopes, our concerns, and our celebrations. There is so much to be grateful for in our lives. Let us turn our hearts and minds to the people in our lives today who are near to us, who need our support and our love. We send our loving thoughts to those who are ill, who are facing uncertain times, wrestling with questions. May they know our support. And may the people in this church community feel the love of those around them. May we all find comfort and peace. We are never alone. We are always part of a larger whole, and may we always know that our lives are interconnected with all of creation. Today we lift up those in our world community who seek peace and justice and comfort. And we remember the hurting earth that needs our action to heal. May we all know the many hands that reach out in hope and thanksgiving for us all. Amen.
Amor,
Today's reading is The Healing Moment, adapted from Elizabeth Tarbox. Each day, I am newly reminded of my unworthiness. A dozen thoughts misspoken, another day when the good I do falls so far short of the good that I could do. Myriad small interchanges, moments of sharing that strain to the breaking point my desire to be generous, helpful, and kind. Months of careful work lost by a moment's impatience, a careless word. But when I am here at the edge of creation, breaking with the small tide over the sand, the need to do good rolls away. The question of what is right diminishes to insignificance and is easily borne away by the tiny waves. Here, where no words are spoken, none are misspoken. What I have done or failed to do has left no noticeable mark on creation. What I do or don't do is of no matter now. Now I am here and grateful to be touched, calmed, and healed by the immense pattern of the universe. Reassured, I am called back to my life, to another day.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. The Serenity Prayer is attributed to Reinhold Niebuhr. It emerged in the late 1930s in the face of a rapidly changing society. Many of us are familiar with it because it was adopted by Alcoholics Anonymous and other 12-step programs. This simple prayer is based on a profound principle. It's an opening to deeper inner reflection and peace. I find myself returning to it in moments when I need centering. This prayer, written by a Christian theologian, starts generally by saying, God, grant me the serenity, and if that isn't prayerful for you, it could begin with God of our many understandings, Spirit of life, or my complicated human mind. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Sounds like 3 easy steps. The first, accepting the things I cannot change. There are so many things we cannot change, many more than we'd like to admit. In the late 1930s, not so different from today, the society faced economic hardships, technological advances, political tensions abroad, and changing roles for society members, including immigrants and women and people of color. Now, more than ever, we feel that reality of the world. We read the news, we listen constantly. We worry, we lose sleep. But those big issues are far beyond our control. Can we accept that we cannot change them? Can you hold those more lightly? And there are plenty of things closer to home that we can't change. For me, I worry about my niece's new high school experience, or the fact that my parents are aging. I get so annoyed when people don't use their turn signal. Having just moved from California, I know that there, wildfire smoke is a way of life. I wonder why my new neighbor doesn't say hi to me, and I can't control any of those things, and it is hard to accept. How about you? What's something that you worry about or are annoyed by or find frustrating? The heat, the humidity. I invite you to just sit for a moment. Reflect. What is something that you're worried about, annoyed by, find frustrating? And you can just hold it in silence if you want. And reflect if it's something that you can change. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. That second part of finding serenity, knowing there are things we can change. It does indeed take courage to acknowledge them, and it often takes a lot of work to actually change them. Some changes are a little easier than others, at least to try. I cannot change my niece's school experience, and I cannot stop my parents from aging, but I can call them all a little more often. I can trust that their support systems will be there when they are needed. I can hold back a snarky comment. I can use my turn signal. There are other changes, however, that are not as easy as putting on a blinker. Changes we should make because they're unhealthy for ourselves or others, like our thoughts, our actions, or our situations. It takes courage sometimes to be kind to people we don't know or understand. And we can practice gratefulness and honesty, kindness, forgiveness. It takes bravery to leave our homes when we know we're no longer safe there, and we can find safe places to live. It takes so much courage and humility to look inward to the places where we are not our best selves, the places that we need to change. I have an extroverted tendency to fill in quiet time or quickly take the lead in a conversation. Those tendencies can shut people out or turn them away, and this was not easy to admit to myself, but when I entered ministry 12 years ago, I knew it was something that I needed to change. It was part of who I understood myself to be. I loved jumping into the conversation, suggesting the right way to do something, and then accepting the nomination to be in charge. And that was preventing other people from participating, from finding their voice and their leadership and their answers. So even as I began to acknowledge that was my style, I could start to feel a shift. I was intentional about changing, and it was exhausting. I was constantly biting my tongue, stepping back, worrying if I was being my authentic self, figuring out how much I should keep quiet and when. And I was looking at my past patterns and understanding where those tendencies came from and how they've played out in my life. I know I will always have those tendencies, and I know I will always have to be self-aware. And I know that I shifted too far the other way for a while, and it didn't feel right. So I will always be working on finding the balance. I know that that change has made a difference in my friendships, in my relationships, in my professional life, and my daily interactions are more healthy, both for me and the people that I'm with. Looking inside is hard sometimes. I've had the honor to witness incredibly courageous changes in many people, from seemingly small changes to major lifestyle changes. One story sticks with me even all these years later as I was serving as a hospital chaplain. That's something that ministers have to do as part of their ministerial training. So I spent the summer in a hospital visiting people every day on certain floors, and I had the cancer floor, and I visited regularly with a man 3 times a week during his chemotherapy appointments. He loved to talk about his family and his garden, and never about his illness. He often told me stories about his great-granddaughter who lived with him, and every time he'd leave for the hospital, she would try to give him her stuffed animal, a little lion named Snuggler. He would laugh about this, and he told me ways that he would distract her because he would never be seen carrying a stuffed animal in public. Over the weeks, it became a joke, and I'd ask him about Snuggler, and he'd give me the dutiful eye roll, like many men his age would. Then he was admitted to the hospital a few nights. It was a scary wake-up call about the seriousness of his illness. I happened to be on call one night, and we talked more about his family and his garden, but finally the conversation shifted to his wondering about what would happen to them after he was gone. We talked about the things he could do now to take care of his family and his garden with whatever time he had left. What little things might he say or do or plan that will help them? He could not change that he was dying, but he could change some things along the way. The next week, he came back to his chemo treatments, and he brought Snuggler with him. I smiled as I introduced myself to the stuffed lion, and instead of rolling his eyes, he said, "It means a lot to her." Of course, it meant a lot to him, too. Having Snuggler on his lap was a sign that he had accepted that he was dying, and he knew that changing his attitude while living was what was important. That took courage. I invite you again into a short time of reflection on something that you can change in your life, something that might take courage and humility. God of our many understandings, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. That final line, wisdom to know the difference, may be the hardest part, gaining the wisdom to know the difference between what we can and cannot change. We often say that we learn with experience, with age, with mistakes, and it's all true. We do learn about ourselves and the world and other people, but we don't automatically become wise. Wisdom suggests that as we learn, we might do something differently in the future. We might have actually learned from our mistakes and not repeat them. That is the kind of wisdom we hope for, the kind of wisdom that can help us find serenity. And that wisdom is inside each of us. No matter your experience or your age or the mistakes you've made, it is found when we try to understand our own motivations and our own reactions. Some people might find that wisdom in journaling, writing deeply and honestly about our thoughts and anxieties, our assumptions and considerations. And in journaling, we can go back to our old writings and see what stories seem to repeat and ask why that might be. Some people find it more helpful to do this kind of reflection with others. Many people have great success in individual therapy or support groups. You might find wisdom in church services or in your covenant groups here, or in close friendships that are safe places to share. When we find ourselves anxious or upset about something in our lives, or nervous about something coming up, we can use that serenity prayer. It doesn't take long. 2 breaths. We can pause for a breath of letting go of what we cannot change, and another breath of courage for what we can. That is where the wisdom is, on the other side of the worry and the confusion and the unknowns. It is tough to ask honest questions of ourselves and others, like, what am I responsible for, and what is the limit of my responsibility? What can I change, and what do I need to let go of? What might help you gain wisdom on knowing the difference between what you can and cannot change? What do you need? Do you need more support? Do you need more alone time? Do you need a covenant group, or to come to church more often, or a walk in the woods? Take a moment again, please, and think about what you might need to gain wisdom. You can join me in the prayer if you want. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I invite you to continue entering into centering moments of reflection, continuing to hope for the wisdom to know the difference of what we can and cannot change. There are simple facts of the human experience that bring us both pain and joy that we must accept as beyond our control. We can only hope to control ourselves and our reactions as we face this journey of life. Ultimately, from changes like holding back in conversation or carrying a stuffed animal in public, to more complicated work on ourselves and our relationships, to displaying love and compassion in the face of our enemies, there are things that we as individuals can change. Having the courage to change them will impact our lives and the lives of those around us in immeasurable ways. And gaining the wisdom to know the difference will empower us to live with more intention and more peace. May we all find such serenity. Amen.
Please join us as you are able in standing and singing hymn number 1007, There's a River.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my
In September, 70% of our offering will be given to the Guatemalan Scholarship Partners. The Guatemalan Scholarship Partners, a joint UUCA project begun in 2009 with Adavima, a Mayan human rights organization in Rabanal, Guatemala, and Golden Unitarian Church, supports 52 Mayan middle and high school students. Adavima interviews the families to ensure a commitment that the students attend school, then provides tuition and support for food, transportation, and during COVID, access to cell phones and computers when the schools were closed. Only one student per family is supported, and 2/3 are girls. This year, 14 students graduated with degrees in accounting, business administration, computer science, and education. Alianzas members will be at the table in Fellowship Hall with more info about the program and the lives of individual students. There are many ways to give to UUCA through our website, by text, the Give Plus app, and by mailing a check. Please put plate in the memo line. As you're making your donations, please remember that 30% goes to the continuing mission of UUCA, and that in September, 70% goes directly to the Guatemalan Scholarship Partners. I ask that you please give accordingly and consider adding a little extra to your gift this week. If the ushers will come up, we'll bless the offering. In the meantime, just want to say thank you to everyone for the beautiful music this morning and for Reverend Morgan and her wonderful message. We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. Let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure, for giving brings us joy. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability, for they teach us how to receive in community and love. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation, for it is a blessing to make a difference together.
The words from our benediction are adapted from Reverend Suzelle Lynch. May we go forward with our expectation renewed, trusting that the world will deliver what we want, yet opening our hearts to a universe of beauty and struggle, a universe beyond all prediction. May we travel with confidence, anticipating what we feel we deserve, but faithful to the paths unfolding, even when it leads to wilderness. And may we go knowing there are always friends waiting for us on the road ahead. I extinguish our chalice. No, I blow it, I think. And that light goes with you until we are together again, and we extinguish that light of compassion, knowing we can take care of the world together. Go in peace.